Earth's climatic zone, a group presentation of Group 1. In order for us to determine what are the five climatic zones, we should first know what is climate. Climate refers to a larger pattern that helps us to understand whether a region's climate is determined by the average weather in the location over a long period of time. There are several factors that cause climates to vary from one place to another. In general, the climate of an area is determined by its location and on Earth's surface and the air masses associated with the particular area. An air mass is a larger body of air that has about the same temperature, humidity, and pressure across it. The Earth has three main climate zones: tropical, temperate, and polar.
Five climate zones: tropical climate, dry climate, mild climate, continental climate, polar climate. Tropical climate. There are three climate types in the tropical group: tropical wet, tropical monsoon, tropical wet and dry. Tropical wet rainforest. Places with a tropical wet climate are also known as a rainforest. These equational regions have the most predictable weather on Earth, with warm temperatures and regular rainfall. Annual rainfall exceeds 150 centimeters 59 inch, and the temperature was varies more during a day that is just over a year. The coldest temperature about 20 degrees to 23 Celsius, 68 to 73 Fahrenheit occurs just before dawn. Afternoon temperature usually reaches 30% to 30% Celsius, 88% to 91% Fahrenheit. Rainforests experience very little seasonal change, meaning average monthly temperature remain fairly constantly throughout the year.
Tropical wet climates exist in a band extending about 10% of latitude on either side of the equator. This part of the globe is always under the influence of the intertropical convergence zone. The ITZZ follows a pendulum-like path during the course of a year, moving back and forth across the equator with the seasons. It moves north during summer in the northern hemisphere and south during the northern winter.
Some tropical wet climates are wet throughout the year. Others experience more rainfall during the summer or winter, but they never have especially dry season. The US, state of Hawaii, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Belém, Brazil are examples of areas with tropical wet climates.
Tropical monsoon climates are most found in southern Asia and West Africa. A monsoon is a wind system that reverses its direction every 6 months. Monsoons usually flow from sea to land in the summer and from land to sea in the winter. Summer monsoon bring large amount of rainfall to tropical monsoon regions. People living in these regions depend on the seasonal rains to bring water to their crops. India and Bangladesh are famous for their monsoon climate patterns.
Tropical wet and dry savanna. Tropical wet and dry climates are sometimes called savanna climates after the grassland ecosystem defined by wet and dry periods. Tropical wet and dry climates sit just outside the ITCZ near the equator. They have three seasons. One season is cool and dry when the warm, moist ETCZ and is in the opposite hemisphere. Another season is hot and dry as the ETCZ approaches. The last season is hot and wet as the ITCZ arrives and the region experiences months as a tropical wet climate. Life in these tropical wet and dry regions depends on the wet season's rains. During years when rains are light, people and animals suffer through drought. During especially rainy years, regions may experience the flooding. Havana, Cuba, Kolkata, India, and Africa's vast Serengeti plain are in the wet and dry trop- tropics.
Dry climates. Region lying with the dry climate group occur where precipitation is low. There are two dry climate types, arid and semi-arid. Most arid climates receive 10 to 30 centimeters, 4 to 12 inches of rain each year, and semi-arid climates receive enough to support intensive grasslands. Temperature in both arid and semi-arid climates show large daily and seasonal variation. The hottest spots in the world are in arid climates. The temperature in the arid Death Valley National Park, California, US, reached 56.7 Celsius and 137 Fahrenheit on July 10, 1913, the highest temperature ever recorded. Although rainfall is limited in all dry climates, there are few parts of the world where it never rains. One of the driest places on earth is the Atacama Desert of Chile. On the west coast of South America, stretches of the Atacama may have never received rain in recorded history. Semi-arid region, such as the Australia outback, usually receive between 25 and 50 centimeters, 10 to 20 inches of rainfall every year. They are often located between arid and tropical climate regions. Arid and semi-arid climates can occur when the movement of warm, moist air is blocked by mountains. Denver, Colorado, just east of the U.S. section of the Rocky Mountains, has this type of dry climate known as a rain shadow.
Mild climates. Regions with mild and continental climates are also called temperate regions. Both climate types have distinct cold seasons. In these parts of the world, climate is influenced mostly by latitude and region's position on the continent.
Mediterranean climates have warm summer and short, mild, rainy winters. Mediterranean climates are found on the west coast of continent between 30 Celsius and 40 Celsius latitude, and along the shore of the Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean summer feature clear skies, cool nights, and little rains.
Humid subtropical climate are usually found on the eastern sides of continent, in cities such as Savannah, Georgia in the US, Shanghai, China, and Sydney. Australia, summers are hot and humid. Winter can be severely cold. Precipitation is spread evenly throughout the year and totals 76 to 165 centimeters, 30 to 65 inches. Hurricanes and other violent storms are common in these regions.
Marine West Coast. Weather on both sides of continent generally becomes cooler as latitude increases. The marine west coast climate is a type of mild climate typical of cities such as Seattle, Washington, and the US, and Wellington. New Zealand has a longer, cooler winter than the Mediterranean climate. Drizzle falls about two-thirds of winter days, and temperatures average about 5 degrees Celsius, 41 degrees Fahrenheit.
Continental climates. Areas with the continental climates have colder winters, longer lasting snow, and shorter growing season. They are the transition zone between mild and polar climates. Continental climates experience extreme seasonal changes. The range of weather in continental climate region makes them among the most spectacular sight of the weather phenomena. In an autumn, in instance, vast forests put on their annual show of brilliant color before shedding their leaves as winter approaches. Thunderstorms and tornadoes, among the most powerful forces in nature, form mostly in continental climates. There are the three types of continental climate: warm summer, cold summer, and subarctic. All these climates exist only in the northern hemisphere. Usually, continental climates are found in the interior of a continent.
Warm summer. Warm summer climate regions often have wet summer seasons, similar to monsoon climates. For this reason, this climate type is also called humid continental. Most of Eastern Europe, including Romania and Georgia, has warm summer climates. Cool summer. Cool summer climates have winters with low temperatures and snow. Cold winds sweeping in from the Arctic dominate winter weather. People living in these climates have grown accustomed to the harsh weather, but those unprepared for such cold may suffer. Many of French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte's soldiers, for example, were used the mild Mediterranean climates of France. Thousands died in bitter cold as they retreated from Russia's cool summer climate in the winter of 1812.
Subarctic. North of regions with a cold summer climates are regions with subarctic climates. These regions, including northern Scandinavia and Siberia, experience very long, cold winters with long precipitation. Subarctic climates are also called boreal climates or taiga.
The two polar climates types tundra and ice cap lie with Arctic and Antarctic cycles near the north and south poles. In tundra climates, summers are short, but the plants and animals are plentiful. Temperatures can average as high as 10 Celsius and 50 Fahrenheit in July. Wildflowers dot a landscape and the flocks of migratory birds feeds on insects and fish. Whales feed on microscopic creatures in the regions called nutrient-rich waters. People have adapted to life on the tundra for thousands of years. Few organisms survive in the ice cap climates of the Arctic and Antarctic. Temperatures rarely rise above freezing even in summer. The ever-present ice helps keep the weather cold and reflecting most of the sun's energy back into the atmosphere. Skies are mostly clear and precipitation is low. In fact, Antarctica, covered by an ice cap 1.6 km 1 mile thick, is one of the largest driest deserts on Earth.